So today I'm going to be taking you through a tool I developed myself for DaVinci Resolve. I call it the FD Zoomie tool. And what it is it's built specifically for people that do tutorials off of, screen recordings and that type of thing. Although you can use it for other stuff. It lets you zoom in on a particular area with a nice little highlight around it. And it also automatically darkens the rest of the screen, and you can adjust all that kind of stuff. And it's really easy to use. You can drop it on the video clip itself, or it'll even work on an adjustment clip. Let's get started. Okay, so here we are on my desktop, and we'll follow some steps on where to find this tool and how to get it and install it, and then we'll take you in and show you how to use it. So if you go to my website, there'll be a link down in the description, and so it's just the fuzzee.ca/store, and there's a couple of things on here on this page for sale right now. There's stuff on other pages, but it's older stuff, and it's going to be getting redone and switched to this new way of selling stuff. So what we're doing is we're allowing you to decide how much you want to pay. If you can't afford to pay anything, you can get it for a penny. I tried doing it for completely zero, but PayPal wouldn't let me do that. I had to have at least a penny. So that's the cheapest you can get one of my tools for at the moment until I find something better. So for now, it'll be a penny. And if we pop this list open here, you can see you've got, I've got it set up as donate. I should have actually went buy. It was kind of what they was going to as default when I was initially setting this up. The other one I set up is worded differently, but I'll have to go back and change this. It'll probably be fixed by the time you actually see this video. So, but basically you've got a penny, a buck, $5, $10, 25, 50, or 100. And it's not so much about whether the tool is worth it or not. I think it's a great little tool, which you're going to see in a couple minutes. But it also is to help support me creating more of these tools and these tutorials to help you out. So this is by way of supporting me. But if you really need a tool like this and you just can't afford more than a penny, then by all means grab it for a penny, and you can always donate later. There's actually a button on the tool itself when you're using it in DaVinci that you can click if you want to donate later on if you feel that it's actually worth it. So that's a few different ways that we're making changes with how we're doing things here. So all of our new products are going to be available like this. There's not going to be two levels of tools, like a free version and a pro version you pay for. It's all going to be the same full featured tool, and you pay what you can. And if you think it's worth it later, then you can always donate later through the tool itself. All right, now that we got that out of the way, basically what you would do is you would choose the amount you want to pay and then click on buy now. And then that's going to take you to a page that looks like this. So here you would log into your PayPal account, and then you can carry through with this. When you're done with the transaction, then you can get taken to, or not you will get taken to a page like this when the transaction's complete. For this particular tool, this is the page. So after you complete your purchase through PayPal, then you'll be taken to this page here, and then you'll get this link. So you can download your Zoomie tool. And if you're not sure how to do that, there's a little tutorial here in case you forget, and this covers a couple other things as well. But basically you click that button, and it's going to take you here, and this is showing you what files are actually in it. And then you just click on this little button over here for downloading it. And that'll put it into your downloads folder most likely, unless you've changed the default for that. So if you actually click on this, then you'll see it just automatically downloaded it. And now it's sitting in my downloads. So if we were to pop open the downloads, there it is right there. And you would just unzip it. And I'm not going to show you how to do that. That's a tutorial for another day. I'm going to assume you have the skills to do that. So when you unzip it, you're going to get two files. So you're going to get this DRFX file, which is an installable package. It's DaVinci Resolve package. And there's a README file. So if you open that up, it's just got some basic things here that are gonna introduce you to the tool and a little information about it. But we're covering all that here in the tutorial anyway. And then all you would do is you would double click on this. If DaVinci isn't already open, it'll open DaVinci. If it is open, either way it's gonna do the same thing. It's gonna ask you if you want to install it. So you would just click OK. So here we are in DaVinci. And I've just got some basic footage in here from a previous tutorial, actually the last tutorial that I put out. So this is just some little snippets of footage so I can show you how the tool works. And I've got a little bonus thing I'm going to show you. We didn't talk about it in the intro, but this is a little bonus that you're going to get if you stick to the end. All we do here is we decide at what point we want to have our tool. And we're going to go to effects and we're going to grab an adjustment clip and we're going to set how long we think we need it. And if you don't know yet, it's okay. You can always adjust it later. So once you've got this in place, then we're going to go open up effects itself and you would go to Fuzzee D and then we're going to grab the Zoomie and we're going to drop it on our adjustment clip. Okay, so now if we go over here to effects, and if you don't already have this open, this is the inspector. So you would just click on the inspector and that'll open it up for you. So we go to effects. I was mentioning earlier that there are some buttons in the tool that will let you donate, or it'll take you to our Fuzzee Tutorials YouTube channel, or it can take you to my website. So those little buttons are at the top there for you for your convenience. If you pop down this list here, there's a little more contact information if you need it. And so let's go through these. So the first pop down menu that we've got is for the colors. So if you want to adjust this outline color over here, then you can just do that right here. So make it any color you want, but we'll just leave it at the orange. And then we've got some outline options. So here's where you can adjust your thickness. So if you want it thicker or you want to get rid of it entirely. Now I know it's kind of hard to see on this background, but you do have the option to turn your drop shadow off completely. Turn it back on. And now here's our main options. So here's where we can adjust everything one at a time here. So we've got the zoom factor. So this is where you can set how far you want to zoom it in. So I did kind of max it out at 3 because if you get beyond 3 for your zoom factor, it's going to get so pixelated. You can type in a higher number manually if you want, but I think I limited it to 5 as your absolute max. So we're just going to turn this back down to a more reasonable level. I find that 2 to 2.5 is about as high as you want to go. If your background footage is 1080p, probably 2 is as high as you want to go. If you're on a like 1440p footage, for instance, or 4K, then you can go higher. So Then we've got our dimming. So you notice it dims down the rest of the screen a little bit. So if we adjust this, you can see it can black it right out completely, but you can set it to whatever works for you, or you can have none at all. So I like to kind of darken it enough so that it allows the circle to stand out, but it also allows them to continue to see what's going on elsewhere on the screen in the background. The old method that most people use, where they zoom into an area, they're zooming in the whole screen. And when you zoom in the whole screen, you can't see anything else that's going on, and it can be a little confusing as to where you're zooming into unless you're doing some animation. So it can be a lot of work. So this tool really simplifies things for you. So the next thing we can do is change our zoomed area size. So basically we can shrink or expand this little circle. And then we can change its position, where it is on the screen. And so I made this completely adjustable because sometimes when it's doing this, it's not putting it in a logical spot on the screen where you would expect to see it. So this lets you set up exactly where you want to see it. And then down here on the zoom focus area, then we can actually change exactly what's showing up in that little window while it stays still. So this gives you maximum adjustment to get it set up exactly the way you like it, and it's quick and easy to do. So normally you're only going to be working with this zoom options section. And one of the nice things about this is if you do need to animate your display position or your zoom focus area, you can do that. I've left these animatable, but the rest would have just made it too complicated for this tool. So I'm going to show you another neat little trick here. Say you come up with a kind of a unique set of changes that you don't want to have to do every time you use the tool. So if you have something that's quite different and would be time consuming every time you use it, you can do this little trick where if you look up here, you've got this little, like a wand kind of a thing. So with this little wand icon, that lets you open that effect in Fusion. So we'll click on this. Now this is some pretty advanced stuff, so you absolutely don't need to know how to do this part that I'm showing you right now. But this lets you come in here and get everything set up exactly the way you want. And then you can actually right click on this, copy it, or you can use your Control-C, however you want to copy it to the clipboard. And then you can actually copy that into a text file. So if we open up my favorite little programming text editor, which is Notepad++. So we'll open up a new screen here. And some of the stuff you just saw on here, that's going to be part of an upcoming tutorial on how I actually made this tool. And it's going to be in two parts. There's the part that's going to show you how all of this zoom stuff functions, but then there's the other tutorial that's going to cover how I actually created this custom interface and how you can do it too. And that's done with a little bit of programming. It's not as bad as you think. It looks scary, but once you play with it for a few minutes, it's actually not bad. But that's a subject for another day. So now we've got this new one open. So now we can just hit Control V and we've pasted it in. So now you can save that. So we can hit save here, and I'll just drop it in here as a place to put it. So I can take this file name and make it anything I want. We'll just call it custom zoomie.setting. Okay. So now you can either drag that file in, or you can go in here and copy paste back into here. But I find it easier just to, once you've got this all set up, just pull that file in. So we'll go ahead and close this. So let's just open up a file explorer. And I almost said Finder from my Mac days. So if we go down to where we stored that, in my case, I stored it right here. So here we go, custom Zoomie setting. So you can drag that into here. And then you would just take this, delete it, and put this in its place. So if we go back out to the edit page, you know, it looks exactly the same because this is the basis of what we took as what we were exporting, basically. So that's how you can bring in a tool like this. So if you've got an effect from someone else that you're using and you want to know how to be able to restore those custom settings instead of having to redo them every time, that's how you do it. But that wasn't the full bonus that I was talking about. So now I'm going to show you another tool that I've developed. And this particular tool, I would like to have it work properly on an adjustment clip because it would certainly simplify things for what this tool is supposed to do. But for some reason, it doesn't want to work that way. I'm hoping to fix that. That's why it's not been officially released. So this is kind of a preview. The tool is fully functional at the moment, but you have to use it within the actual video clip. So if you're using this for a video inset overlay like I do on my tutorials, like you're watching right now, that's done now with this tool. I used to have to do it a whole different way. We won't get into that. This is much easier. So you would take your footage here that's going to be your talking head video, and we can take this FD narrator effect, drop that on, and now it's created our inset. So we can play this a little bit, and once you've put that effect on, you're fully able to edit this timeline or this track, and it won't affect what you've set up. And then if you have one little area where you need to move this, if you need to move this to another part of the screen, you can just cut that chunk out and then move it. So it makes it very flexible for doing this in post-production. I used to do it so that my inset was baked in using OBS. And invariably I would have something that I needed to show you and it was covered with this stupid video inset and I couldn't do anything about it in post. Was doing it like this, you can. I was doing another thing where I was using a source record tool for OBS that let me record each source separately and then combine them in post. And that worked better. It let me move stuff around when I needed. The only problem is that if you look over here, you see this little orange line around. I had something very similar that I used to use. It was just a solid static PNG file. And so then I would have to do cropping and everything. And then these nice little round corners I have, they would come out square because I was having to crop to get it back down to this part because of the way it handled source recording. So that's when I decided I needed to do something more like this. A couple tutorials doing it that way were just, it wasn't working for me. So I made this tool. If we go to our effects, you can see I don't have all the fancy little drop-down menus and buttons and stuff on here. Eventually when this tool is released to the public, it'll have all that fancy interface. But right now I just needed to get the tool working. And this interface is fine, you know, it's good enough for me the way I'm using it at the moment until I can make it better. So I've been revamping a lot of stuff. I've been redoing stuff on my website and changing all my PayPal stuff around. So a little busy at the moment. All right, so once again, we've got our zoom factor. So this tool is very similar. It's actually based on the other tool. I took the same one, copied it over, and took out a few things and made some other adjustments, but just about exactly the same. So you can set your zoom factor. You can't take it down too low, or you're inside your little window thing, but that's adjustable too. So just bear with me. So now we've got, if you want to change your border opacity, so if you want to just get rid of the border entirely, you can do that. That's fine. And then we've got our outline width. So we can change that. And you can change the color down here. When I redo the tool with the fancy interface, it's going to be set out a little more logically. So, sorry, I'm going to try to stop moving my hands in front of my face so much. All right, so now if we go down here, we've got our narrator panel position, so we can move the panel, but the video behind it stays same position. So basically you use this to kind of center yourself up. And you've got your Y adjustment as well. And then we can adjust our panel width and our height. And you can adjust your corner radius, so you can make it kind of oval shaped. If you make the width and the height the same, then you can make it a circle. Or you can get rid of it entirely, or use anything in between it, suits your fancy. Something just happened on my system. I might be locking up. All right, we're back. My apologies. My system did indeed lock up, or not my system, but DaVinci itself locked up. I had to forcibly close it and optimize my RAM and then open it up again. I just optimize my RAMs just so it cleans anything out of RAM that it might be trying to hang on to. A lot of times it keeps you from having to reboot your system. So it's a little third-party utility I picked up called Wise Memory Optimizer. Where were we? So we were in effects. All right. Yeah, so I was going through our little bonus tool preview of the next thing. All right, so we can adjust our radius, corner radius, or we can, that little dot that lights up, you can click that and it takes you back to the default for it. So now we've got our outline color, so if we wanted to change that to match our channel colors or something, we could certainly do that. Or if you need to change it so that it shows up better on a dark background or something. So, and then we've got our shadow controls. So you notice there is a little drop shadow there that you can see. So here you can adjust your panel offset. So X and Y. And you can adjust softness of your shadow if you want. It'll basically make it totally disappear. But that's, you know, it's an aesthetic choice. So, and we can also play with the light position and the light distance and all that. So I'll leave that for you to play with. We don't need to mess with it here. And now we can also adjust the entire inset to wherever we want it on the page. So we go down here so we can move it across. And because this tool was a little simpler, and because of the way it's been built here, you can animate all this stuff if you really wanted to, but a lot of this animation stuff I'm probably going to remove from the tool at the very end. So, but this thing I will leave animatable for sure is being able to move it, size it, that kind of a thing. So that will definitely remain animatable, so that you can have it smoothly moved around to different parts of the screen. So it's, I definitely like having that choice. I don't really use that option, but I want to have the choice to use it if I need to. You got a couple of bonuses in there. Thanks for sticking around to the end. So if you enjoy what we're doing, make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the upcoming videos. And take a moment and go check out our website and our YouTube channel. There's lots of other great videos there for you to look at. And we've got more coming out soon. We're kind of on a roll here again now that we've changed a lot of stuff in the studio and have all these new tools to use. Now I'm going to be rolling ahead with quite a few videos upcoming for DaVinci Resolve 18. So thanks for hanging out with us today, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.